Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Ango, and welcome to Tony Pizza Guy's channel. I am your guys' host of all the latest and greatest in WWE news here on this channel. I do have a channel of my own. If you guys are interested in checking it out, it's youtube.com/AngoYT. Link will be in the description. But today is a very, very big news day for all of you WWE NXT fans, because everybody has been talking about the implementation of NXT and WrestleMania and the possibilities that we may see if there is some sort of inclusion on the card. And from many different sources and reports, there seems to be two very key ideas. The main one that we're going to talk about today is a NXT stable invading WWE at WrestleMania. Similar to the Shield, where we saw three different NXT prospects like Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins. We saw them come together and take out the WWE and dominate the company for basically a year and a half, maybe even 2 years at this point. And obviously they're doing very well as single stars. But the idea would be for the Authority to continue. The Authority would actually turn on Kane, Big Show, Seth Rollins, J&J Security, and Triple H would actually bring in a new faction, which would be led by Kevin Owens, followed by Hideo Itami and Finn Balor. I am actually very intrigued to know where this story would go, especially if they were to invade at WrestleMania and what may actually happen. There has been a lot of rumors that Seth Rollins could possibly cash in for the World Heavyweight Championship and then would be taken out to end WrestleMania by three different people, which would be this new stable from NXT. And I'm actually kind of in love by the idea, because realistically, it's not going to be just another Shield. This would be a very, very different faction. You have Kevin Owens, who's Canadian, Hideo Itami, who's from Japan, and then, of course, Finn Balor, who is Irish. They can definitely do that international stable. A lot of people have been talking about different gimmicks, and some of the sources are saying that they would go for kind of like a mafia mobster type gimmick, which for me, I think that's pretty unique. And yeah, I think the idea would be to build Seth Rollins as the overachiever, the guy who really doesn't need the Authority anymore. He gets his ego. To the best of him, essentially, and when that happens, Triple H just basically has enough and dominates him. There are so many different possibilities, but I want to talk about each individual wrestler and talk about how they could contribute to this faction. Triple H, obviously being the leader, kind of being the guy that brings them on, is a very huge endorsement for all three guys. So no matter what role they play, they're all going to do pretty well. Do I think necessarily WWE needs another heel faction? Not necessarily, but I think the storyline could be pretty intriguing. So let's start off with Hideo Itami. Obviously, he is the Daniel Bryan of Japan, right? I think a lot of people have been saying that in the YouTube comments recently. And I could kind of agree. The movesets are very, very similar. Daniel Bryan obviously took advantage of bringing that Japanese-style wrestling to WWE. And, with all the kicks and things like that, I think it would be a very, very lethal faction. Hideo Itami is your guy that's going to bring the excitement, the fast pace, the kicks, the energetic guy that, just does very well in terms of getting the crowd going, so to say. And Finn Balor is going to be kind of like your high flyer, kind of similar to Hideo Itami in a sense of, exciting moveset, very energetic. But Hideo Itami is one of those guys, and I feel like he just really hasn't connected with the United States as well as he did in Japan. And one of the ways that you can really have Hideo Itami make a big impact in the WWE main roster would be bringing that Japanese style of wrestling, that hardcore, that grunginess, bring that to WWE. Obviously keep it PG, which I know it could be a little bit difficult, but I'm sure WWE can manage that. And, having him as like a mobster heel, mafia-like Japanese character, I think could do very, very well. Nothing would be cooler than seeing Hideo Itami spark up a cigar with Finn Balor and Kevin Owens and literally just strike at anybody at any time. So they don't have to be a babyface group. They don't have to be a heel group. This is something where they're going to bring their excitement to the WWE no matter what way they go, because realistically, they should just be them versus the world, right? It's just them taking on the entire company. Kevin Owens has some very strong history with Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn will also be on the main roster, hopefully at this point, if everything, is confirmed to be true. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens really won't acknowledge each other, but Sami Zayn could definitely main event with Kevin Owens at some point, some pay-per-view. He would kind of be the babyface that goes to stop Kevin Owens. And this is where it gets exciting, because this is where NXT can definitely have a huge implementation at WrestleMania, or even after WrestleMania as well. Because now if you think about it, Sami Zayn, Adrian Neville are definitely over as baby faces. You throw one more guy in the mix, and you have a 3v3 from NXT, at some point on the main roster. And I think that's a very awesome concept. NXT has been very, very successful, I would say, so far on the WWE Network, but they've never had that moment with WrestleMania. And a lot of people have been talking about, well, what if WWE gives them the chance to have a Money in the Bank match at WrestleMania, or like a pre-show match? And even though that does sound very nice in my mind, I do have to say having them, kind of feuding with Seth Rollins and The Authority would be really amazing. So Triple H would kind of go against everything. Stephanie McMahon and Triple H would kind of go against everything they already have. And for them, it's a babyface turn, but for the group themselves, they would actually be heel. So it's a different concept, but it could definitely work. And then let's talk about Kevin Owens, because he is a very big deciding factor. He is the brawler. He is the guy that actually can do exciting moves, and he's got great charisma, great energy. He does all these awesome moves that some people just would never expect him to move, but he moves like a pro, and there's guys that are smaller than him that don't have enough energy like he does, and he contributes in such a big way that Kevin Owens is going to be your big brawler in this group. Kevin Owens being this big brawler would definitely help out, because in this situation, Kevin Owens could provide immediate impact when it comes to actually taking out Seth Rollins. A lot of people have also clamored. Now, this is social media talking in response to the reports, but what if the Shield were to get back together? Now, for me, I'm actually against that. I don't think the Shield should get back together to take on this group. But I do think Seth Rollins, along with Kane and Big Show and perhaps J&J Security, I think giving them the challenge of 3 NXT guys, I think it would make a lot of sense. You can bring a lot of different storylines when it comes to Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens, singles matches, and then of course Finn Balor and Hideo Itami possibly going for tag team titles would make a lot of sense as well. Now, a lot of this stuff is speculation and reports. When it comes to WrestleMania, there's always stuff going on, but I really do like the idea of having them take out Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. I think having a feud like this can set up a great direction, but this also depends on what WWE ends up doing with Sting and Triple H. If the gimmick match at WrestleMania is, if Triple H loses, then he has to give up the Authority. This is his way of doing so. And this is how he can get back at the Authority, because Seth Rollins keeps growing this ego, thinking and claiming that he is the best. And I just think for so many reasons it could work. Now, obviously, a lot of this stuff, like I said, is just online reports. And with that being said, there is so many different ideas that get brought up, but they're scratched. And, Kevin Owens has just won the NXT Championship 2 months after being in NXT. He's already made such a big impact. I think there's so much story to be told in NXT with him and Sami Zayn. I think they should bring that to the WWE main roster. I think that story should be told in front of 4 million viewers, not just 1 million viewers on the WWE Network. But regardless, having them make such a big impact at WrestleMania, there's so many different options. And I know actually one person I seen on Twitter was saying fantasy matchup would be Brock Lesnar versus Kevin Owens. And I think, this is kind of this does not even correlate at all with anything I've been talking about in this video, but a Kevin Owens versus Brock Lesnar matchup would be very, very interesting as well. But obviously, Brock Lesnar's future in the WWE is very questionable. Kevin Owens, is still in NXT right now. WWE looks to be moving him up pretty quickly, but the same has also been said for Finn Balor and Hideo Itami, and I think WWE can just accomplish so much more if he weren't to have his sights on Brock Lesnar. But regardless, I think this is a great idea. I think another heel faction is an amazing idea when you put these 3 different guys all together. It's just something that it might be a little bit reminiscent of the Shield, but realistically, the Shield is a little bit reminiscent of every other heel group because they all have the same motive. They are the anti-crowd. They are the heel group. I mean, if you look at TNA and what they've done with Aces and Eights, it's no different than NWO or Bullet Club. Now, obviously, the stories are being told differently, but they're all heel factions. So that's why, it might just be another group. Yeah, it's 3 people. It might be like the Shield, but then realistically, the same thing could be said for 3MB when they were a heel group. even though they weren't, anything special and they didn't have any major storylines for them. So there is so much potential with this, guys. I would love to get your guys' opinions, and make sure you guys let them be known. Check them out. Leave a comment down below and leave a like on the video, and then also check out my videos on my channel, guys, youtube.com/AngoYT. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.